he just in December visited with Pope Francis at the Vatican. And as we went to break, we talked a lot about what was said in that visit. Let's talk bigger picture. How divided is the church now between those seeking reform on several issues and those that are more conservative, wanting to stay the course? And I ask that big picture within the church and even within your diocese here in Nashville. What do you see?
Well, overwhelmingly is what I see is the middle is quite large and wide, but the fringes are quite vocal. And so people do have their kind of preferences and styles, but the core is pretty much the same whether I'm talking in Rome with the Pope and the various congregations or back here in good old USA in Nashville, Tennessee. The overwhelming majority of people, they want to live the faith. They want to be true to the teachings of the church. They want to invite others into the church. But there are some that have ideological lenses on, we could put it that way, are very determined to be, conservative or hard this way, or liberal and hard this way, and sort of go into their little corners, and it's hard to get dialogue started. But the overwhelming majority, I do find in the middle, but those voices we always have to be respectful of, but also saying, here's where we're going to be as a church. And I find Pope Francis that way. I found the congregations that way, that overwhelmingly we hear these voices out in the social media world or these extreme groups. We respect them as persons, but we're not going to give in to their dire interpretations.
Do you think Pope Francis wants to make major change? He's sometimes portrayed in the media that way. Does he want to make major reform, and if so, in what way, do you think?
Francis, if you truly study, and here's my perspective, is a result of the popes before him, and that I truly do see it as a continuity that goes back, and he himself would say all the way back to Paul VI, going through John Paul II, through Benedict XVI, to who he is right now. And all those popes before him have helped form him into the man that he is as the Bishop of Rome. Now, he has his own personality and dynamic. It's very outward looking. He truly does push the new evangelization, that missionary discipleship needs to happen, that if we continue to just stay in our sacristies, as he has said, then the church will not be fruitful as it should be in the world. That we need to go outside of ourselves, we need to go outside of our walls, we need to open our arms up to others, respecting them for who they are, but welcoming them into the life of Christ. And he's very much saying we've got to get out there in whatever ways we can to evangelize, to be missionary in the world. From his very first document, Evangelii Gaudium, and all through all of his other ones, that push to go out. Now, people can interpret that as, okay, he's pushing reform and he's leaving back some of the customs. I think he wants to bring everything along that he's inherited, but we've got to get out there and really push who Jesus Christ is. And once people know him, their life is changed for the better. And so it's more of a stylistic thing than any major content. I don't see it as content change.
You don't see major content change. I was struck by something I read, an account of the meeting. He encouraged us to have women and a diversity of people in the room when we make decisions and plan for the future.
I personally, as bishop, I've tried to live by that. I lived by that when I was a pastor in a parish. And when he said that to us, I was smiling ear to ear, because I do think we have to have those voices in the room. And you've seen already some appointments, and that showed when we were visiting the various offices. There was the prefect, who is usually a cardinal, but there is a new prefect that's a layman in communications. There was also priests but also lay women and lay men around that cardinal or that prefect who was talking to us about the good of the church. And it was a great conversation. We were all doing the same thing. We wanted to work for the benefit of how can we make this mission of Jesus Christ come true for all of us, and reach out to others. So it was a good feel. I think we see it in the Diocese of Nashville, we see it in our parishes, and we got to get more confident. He was also mentioning, the formation of priests, and he talked about, yes, we need to have strong other priests to form our seminarians into good priests. But he said, likewise, you must have lay women and lay men. And to integrate those into the formation, because they're the one in your pews and they'll be the one around you at the table as you lead a parish.
What are your thoughts on what he has said about relaxing the rules to allow divorced Catholics to be reunited with the church?
Well, first of all, I think you got to read that whole, put it in the context and text that he above all wants us to reach out to the divorced and those who have felt alienated and walk with them. And we're going to have to reach out to them. So don't just wait for them to come to our door. You're going to have to reach out. And sometimes we reach out through family and friends. We preach on it. We make them and say, we will walk with you. We know that this hope and this dream that was your first attempt at marriage didn't come true. Now we want to work with you, see where the church teachings can apply, the church laws, and maybe give you work with you for a brand new opening and a brand new door that you can walk through. And so it's very much an accompaniment. So I think he would take issue with saying he's changing the teaching. What I think he would say is, I'm emphasizing teachings and laws that we already had on the books, applying them in a pastoral way, and especially saying priests, deacons, other lay leaders, you need to sit down with your brothers and sisters who have gone through a divorce and walk with them back to the church.
So at this point, you don't see major changes that he is pushing or that are coming. You don't see major changes.
I see it more as emphasis. I see it more as an encouragement and being enthusiastic, but I don't see major changes. No.
I, over the holidays, saw a movie on Netflix, The Two Popes.
Yes.
It's gotten a lot of attention. What's your thoughts on the movie?
So I haven't seen the movie, but I've read a number of things about it. I think it presents a very positive on Francis, Pope Francis, and his desires to do great things in the church and for the church and kind of open it up to the modern times. I will say, as I've read, I haven't, that the presentation of Pope Benedict has been a little more dark. And I've met him before he was Pope, when he was Cardinal Ratzinger. The man is a sort of a polite and actually soft-spoken person if you ever meet him. And I've seen the little clips and trailers of him, and he's kind of barking and pounding and roaring, and that's not the man that I know. And he's more of a quiet person. Now he very much believes that we have to watch our heritage and our teachings and dogma that have come to us and be careful with those. But he's also the first pope that started being green oriented, that started pushing the environmental concerns, and that which Francis has taken and even published an encyclical about. But those were started under Benedict. A lot of the reforms concerning our outreach to people we harmed by the sexual abuse things started with reforms under Benedict, even when he was cardinal. And so I appreciate the positive that Pope Francis is being presented in, but the negative, like straw man of Benedict on the other side, I personally cannot agree with.
All right, fascinating. I mean, I wish we could talk further. I really appreciate you coming on. Thank you for sharing about your visit with the Pope and all of this. We appreciate you coming on. Come back again. And thanks for watching Issues of Faith, everyone. Have a great day.